Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Monday, October 21, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a Time for Change call this Wednesday night, a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. A lot to talk about. There are as many great truths in our universe as there are stars in the sky. And yet, just like the billions of trillions of stars that exist, not all truths are created equal. And when you look at night, when you look up at the sky, what do you usually see? You see, well, white and black, pretty much. A couple of planes flying around. But that is a true deception. And then whenever you see movies or, that depict star travel and things like that, and you look and it's still the black and white. And there's a lot of dark, space. It seems like there's more space than there are things in it. And that's a deception. Because when you actually get out there, off this planet, and just in this quadrant of the galaxy, you'll be blown away. The amount of planets, suns or stars, whatever you want to call them, is enormous. And the color variants are unending. I mean, you'll come across planets that have purple skies, all right? And purple oceans, and orange and reds, and I mean, it is, well, you see, this is the only planet that you've been experiencing for a lifetime. So how do you can't really make a comparison, variety, because of the fact that, well, here you look up in the sky at night and it's black and white. During the day it's blue or cloudy and raining. Still blue sky, just cloud cover beneath the blue sky. And it's so immense and so spectacular. And this is why I talk about that the day will come where we will leave the planet. Not because of something happening to it, but many of us will go to other planets, interact with other species, and join the universal civilization, which is a big difference between the universal civilization and the anti-civilization. And you could say, well, life and anti-life, black hole and white hole. Many people don't even know that the white hole exists in space and different areas of the universes, but it does. And like I've said before, the white hole pushes out things into the universe. The black hole vacuums them out. It's kind of a yin and yang structure, so to speak, to keep things in balance. And we have this immense, multi-dimensional, cosmic playground out there, and inside every one of us as well. And we all exist in a highly diverse, intelligent system which contains various degrees of truth. And so not every truth will impact us the exact same way. The bigger a truth is, the more it will expand our reality. And the smaller truth is, the more it will shrink and contract our experience of life. And the positive news is that you do not have to decide what is a big truth and what is a small truth. Your physical body will let you know. For your heart is the best guide for seeing how expansive or contracted a truth actually is. So whenever we discover a larger, more profound truth in this life, a little miracle happens. Everything that once felt hard, heavy, and stuck inside us suddenly becomes exalted and liberated. We feel lighter than air and are filled with a natural, spontaneous joy inside, which flows as freely as the wind. The mind stops thinking, and we experience our own source of consciousness. From here, we see life from a much more expanded perspective, and it can happen within milliseconds. One of the biggest truths you may discover along your path is that the first lesson in the Course of Miracles, which simply states, and this is a really, we should have banners up everywhere. That which is real cannot be threatened, and that which is unreal does not exist. Because we create all this. Well, it's an illusion. Does it exist? No. Is it real? No. But we entertain ourselves. See, we haven't made that distinct or that differentiation between what is real. Well, I'm going to go touch that tree out there, and that's real. I can touch it, smell it, feel it, chop it, it's real. Well, doesn't it make sense that when we create things, they've got to be, to us, and these bodies, right, they got to be real. If you're walking along nature's path and you run your hand across a tree and your hand goes right through it and it's just an illusion, wouldn't be really fun, would it? So it's got to appear in the physical material world as real, as we're in these physical material bodies. Okay? Now, what about the God within us? Well, the God basically could walk right through the tree. Because the God is not really physical material. It's cosmic intelligence. Big difference. Cosmic consciousness. Big difference. So when we look at this, we have this big puzzle, right? And we're all snapping pieces in to see the whole picture. And as we travel along, we're all on the same path. We're just experiencing different things along that path. But we create things, really interesting things, to keep us entertained. And yes, we do experience and we do learn. But the actual purpose of this is to now, okay, so you have a life, right? Life is God. God is life. Pure consciousness. So you have this life. Doesn't it make sense that you have a life because you're going to enjoy it? what has caused that? What is that? How come that's been skewed here on this planet? Earth, Gaia, Arya, Sophia, this planet. What's happened here to give us, to show us an illusion of struggle, right? Life is something that we experience, but the mentality or the social structure on the planet states that life is rough, and it's challenging, and it's rewarding, and it has all these things mixed in it. But, okay, so we learn, right? And we've been learning for, you could learn in one lifetime of a few thousand years. Because remember, you're not leaving the body every 80 years. You imagine what you would learn. And as you learn, you experience. So you imagine all the experiences that you would embrace. And then I guarantee you would find out who and what you are. You would know through your heart mind that you're the God in that body. You're not the body. Okay? The body carries you. You kind of drive it. All right? But you're not it. You're an omnipotently powerful being that never ceases, never dies. And you're in a body that only dies or only ceases when you deem it so. Doesn't that make sense? Doesn't it make a lot better sense than what we have been entrenched here on this planet, not ever leaving it for millions and millions and millions and millions of years, never leaving it? No, knowingly, I'm going to take a trip to Alpha Centauri. I'm going to take a trip to Omega Orion, wherever it is. And you're there in like that. Now, the experience that's ahead of us as a species is absolutely amazing. There aren't words to describe it. But see how it rolls. We will have the opportunity to live a very long time, or exist in these bodies for a very long time. We will learn things and experience things, and we will end up operating from the heart mind. We will master the ego mind. We will master our thoughts, and we'll know everything that's part of that, because we have become observers and watchers of ourselves, of the ego mind and how it operates and what it does and its insecurities and everything. We will have forgiven ourselves across the board in all lifetimes, genuinely so, not superficially, through the heart mind, not the ego mind. And so your whole perspective will change on what you desire or want. It's going to be a total different ballgame compared to right now, compared to how you feel right now in this now moment. And originally, this planet was designed in its beginning as a God planet paradise, where gods could incarnate into physical bodies, physical material bodies, and enjoy that life. Now, that doesn't mean that we would not create challenges and situations that we would learn or experience. I'm not saying that it's just, it'd be a boring life if we didn't have that. But we create things in a different context. It'd be a whole different direction. And since we're so used to this planet and not knowing what's out there, which is crazy, right? And being incarcerated so long on this planet for millions and millions of years, generations, different species, different civilizations that have come and gone. and never getting off the planet. Now, some of us, probably not an issue to stay on the planet until we leave the body, and then, keep doing that. We should, and this is being corrected, you should be able to do what? You should be able to sit back and say to yourself in meditation, that you want to travel, go to a different planet or meet a different civilization. And you do so. Now, others of us would be content just to stay in the cave, so to speak, on the planet. Too risky, too unknown, right? Too scary. Because what have we been taught? Well, that just about every species, it has been portrayed this way out there, is what? Ooh, boogeyman. Going to eat you, kill you, enslave you, mutilate you, dissect you. And yes, there's, to flavor it a little bit, there's always species that are overly aggressive. But the majority of the species are benevolent. They're not overly aggressive, but we've been literally programmed for a long time to believe that no, they're all to a certain degree aggressive. What happens, when a lower dark matter frequency from a different species comes along and sees this planet, scans and feels the frequencies, scans the planet, and let's just say the planet is like the way it is now, or let's say about 10, 15, 20 years ago. And of course they scan it and say, what is this, an easy marked planet? The civilization has been convinced that it can never leave the planet and that it's okay to live on the planet forever, generation after generation. Right? But then some time goes by and it passed by again, it scanned it again. And it's such a high frequency, sustained. And theirs is such a low frequency, they avoid it like the plague. See what I mean? You don't need fancy schmancy technologies to protect the outer atmosphere when the entire civilization is vibrating at a tremendously high frequency of deep eternal love, bliss, joy, happiness, and can direct it any way they choose. Now, are there civilizations like that? Sure there are. Do you think we're the only ones that have walked this path? No, there's trillions that have walked this path. Why do we do it? Well, what else is there to do? When you think about it, really, what else is there for us guys to do? We float around in benevolence. What? That's all we do? No, we incarnate into physical forms, to experience them. That's it. That's why we come into these bodies, just to experience it. We know it's temporary, right? And so we know, now imagine that when you enter a physical material body, imagine what it'll be like when you remember everything. Okay? Everything. Throughout your entire existence, through all your lifetimes. You remember everything. So you remember the life you left. And you know that, okay, so you've left that life because you decided to leave that life. Okay? Not because you had to. Not because the body shut down. It's because you decided, yeah, I've been in this body 2, 3, 4, 5,000 years. I want to do something else. So you might incarnate as anything. You might say, I'll incarnate as a tree and hang around for a couple hundred years or a couple thousand years. You imagine being a tree and experiencing all the things that you would experience? To some it sounds a little silly, but it's true. And it's all about us creating our own experience. See? We would be so bored if we didn't create. I mean, we would be really bored. But this is why we are manifesting creation machines. It's fun. When you move to the point of comprehending the fact that, and none of us have yet, that you are a pure consciousness within that physical material body, that you're there to experience, and you create your experiences. But the interesting thing is, even if you have recall of those experiences that you're going to embrace, you still don't know the outcome, right? You know it's going to be an experience of XYZ, but you're not going to know the outcome, because you could be in a physical form for 40, 50, 60,000, 100,000 years. But each experience, you take a whole coliseum of it, a whole football stadium of us, right? Every one of us, and this is so phenomenal, every one of us are creating, but just slightly different. Not just every single one of us are creating just a tad different than the one next to you, or the one next to them, one next to them. It's never the same. See? We're always creating different things. It's like Benny over here creates an experience, and Ruth over here creates an experience. Now, they both talk about things, and they made comparisons, and it seemed like that they both wanted the same things, but slightly different. And Ruth shares her experience with Benny with his with her, and they discover that, hey, Benny, yours is a little bit different than mine. He says, yeah, likewise. Why is that? Well, it makes it a lot more interesting. It really does. We're in like the precursor stage of discovering all these. Now, why would we need to discover that we are the God within the body and not the body? Or that we reside in the heart mind and not the ego mind, and by doing that, we master the ego mind and our thoughts. You see, once we go through that, we're always in the heart mind. The ego mind is still with us, but in a much reduced activity. And then eventually it will leave because it has found peace within, which means the God within us. And people say, we wouldn't have an ego. No, we won't need it. You ask yourself a question: is conflict a good thing? Is conflict a good thing? Or conflict is what, an experience? I don't know. It is, yeah. But you have some of us that just are always engaged in some form of conflict. So how do you, how you learn what? What are you learning? What are you experiencing? It's a different ball game. So we pick things out, we all do, and you say, well, I'm going to experience this. I've never experienced this before. You ever done anything, I think all of us have at one point or another, where you say to yourself, you might be talking with some friends and you say, I've never experienced this before. Have any of you? And then someone might say, yeah, I have, and it was really wild. And then, they give you a depiction and everything. And you go, well, it does sound fun, so I'm going to go for it. So they do whatever it is, and they experience it, and they get a rush. It's different than what the being said to them, oh, yeah, I did it, and it was one heck of an experience. And then they explain certain things. But yours was different. See? Unique to you. That makes it even more interesting. So we're not plain vanilla flavored. We're like a rainbow flavors. And we're all experiencing all kinds of things on many different levels. And have you ever said to somebody, they're explaining something to you, right, that they're experiencing in that moment. And you have already experienced it in your life. It might have been a while ago or even recently. And you say to them, I know what you mean. And then they say, well, how do you know that? Unless you've experienced it. Because I have experienced it. And you ever notice how that just opens things up? That it doesn't cause... there's an ease there. People get irritated a lot when someone says, I know what you mean. I know how you feel. And then you say, really, have you experienced anything like this? And they go, no, but I know how you feel, right? And that's kind of like ego, because it's superfluous. It's all about how you feel about you. Because we interject so many different things to spice things up. We experience them. And as we experience them, it is kind of a rush, when you experience it. Because it's always an unknown. Why would you experience something if you already knew the outcome? You wouldn't. Why would I experience? I already know the outcome, so I don't really care to experience it. And then you say to yourself, well, the God that I am in this body is real, but everything else isn't. But it's fun, isn't it? It's fun to interact with it. And you can touch things and smell things and see things. Not like the gods that we are, the pure consciousness, we don't have that. Drink a really nice glass of water on a hot day, and if you feel that experience, the coolness in the mouth, and it goes down, and how it quenches the thirst. And we have so many emotional and physical experiences, unending. And see, the more creative we become, the more godly we become. when our creativity comes to a climax, when each moment of our life is filled with creativity, then we live in God. Also. And a really neat, simple explanation or definition of enlightenment. Enlightenment is simply realizing again and again and again how to remain non-identified with one's ego. It is a pure seeing, understanding how the ego is the greatest illusion of them all. And to intimately know and become identified with the real self, that which cannot be threatened. What is the real self? The pure consciousness, the God that you are, in that body. It is the only true path to total freedom there is. All other paths lead to some form of suffering. It requires no basic standard of ethics, codes of spirituality, or religious background needed to arrive. You simply experience yourself as the essence of consciousness that you naturally are. That's how you recognize yourself. You simply experience yourself as the essence of consciousness that you naturally are. We're on a wild ride, believe it or not. You know, there's just so many people have been programmed to believe certain ways and shut off anything they don't comprehend. And once we understand and comprehend that the ego is a fear-based program that is based in the opposite experience of trust. And whenever we are living in trust 24 hours a day, we start accessing all the wisdom and knowledge known to all the saints, masters, and enlightened beings throughout existence. We step into the greatest experience of our lives. We find our real true selves and know that we are the real masters of our destiny. We draw it. We color it. We paint it. We sculpt it. We do it all. We're the ones that determine our lives. See? But you've been convinced that you're not the one that determines your life or directs it. You're just a little puppet by some force outside of you. See, See, what we've been programmed to believe is the opposite of what we really and truly are. See, we step into the greatest experience of our lives. We find our real true selves and know that we are the real masters of our destiny. Oh, destiny, you can't change destiny. It's your destiny, Bill. Yes, we can. The whole rap, see, the whole content is up to us. That's it. It isn't up to something up there, out there, that over this and this and there and over. It's everything within. And when we know our real nature, we can allow life to play its ego personality role through us and somehow not get in the way. Okay? We can sit back and go with the flow and enjoy the ride. Or we can remain fascinated by this life, learning how we are here to serve others and take care of our body and simply let the all-intelligent life force move through us. And the state of perpetual enjoyment of this life is real mastery. And when we remain free from all forms of ego identification, we cannot help but to enjoy all aspects of this life. And we allow a greater love to always guide our course and help us live with ease and grace in every way. The choiceless truth of who you are is revealed to be permanently here, permeating everything, not a thing, and not separate from anything. Gagani. We're in this mix of pure energy, pure divine, deep, eternal, love light energy. And we can choose anything, right? You'll hear sometimes that, what is it, that we signed a contract, right? What a silly statement that is. We all are in this, like I have said, this golden ocean, and we all hold the essence of the golden ocean. Golden ocean is us, we're the golden ocean. Universe is us, we're the universe. Beachfront's us, we're the beachfront. It's the comprehension to know that all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, beyond and forever is now. You ever notice that when you're going along, right? And I believe we've all experienced this more than once. You're kind of going along, bopping along, and you're experiencing life. And something comes along, and it knocks you for a loop. And somehow, it's when everything stops from seemingly random events, some seemingly random event, that we are thrown back to our real selves and can see, feel, and taste the bigger picture. In a few brief moments, the mind drops its game, and we understand how divinely perfect everything is. Join you in meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in from the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from remain still, relaxing the body. Each time the breath rises and falls, face you from the heart. Let go of your past. Take some time today, consciously let go of your past. When you're in heavy emotional time, yesterday or at least, have more space, time to feel this deep, wonderful feeling present that you are. What was is not as important as what is here, right now. This moment contains this entire universe. So the past will never be as incredible, fascinating, or mesmerizing as the divinity you'll find in the here and now. You cannot fully experience bliss as long as you're holding on to some old memory. All of your memories are just to entertain you. They can make you drunk with joy, yet they always are hypnotizing you, making you truly believe they are real. And truly, what is real? Can your memories change and suddenly become something else? If so, then they are not that real, are they? Find everything on earth is temporary and subject to change at any moment. And when you realize this, everything becomes more clear. It all depends on how much you're aware of it and stretch you today. This now moment is the only place where you drop this clinging on to your past and learn how to be free from it. This now moment is it, my friend. And your freedom from the past is the gift. It's time to let it all go. Smile on. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, all in the morning. We'll return here Tuesday, October 22, 2024. Little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation. Be gentle, kind, generous, humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on within you or outside of you. Open your heart. Allow the magic to flow in.